The second season of the series begins with Wednesday tied in a scary place, surrounded by a group of game brides. Wednesday tells us that she is in the grip of a serial killer and that he thinks she will be his new victim. Wednesday explains to us that she spent the whole vacation practicing mastering her supernatural ability, using Judy's book full of magical spells. Wednesday tells us that 6 weeks ago, she decided to look for the thing that controlled her when she was 6 years old, and when she was looking for a serial killer that no one could catch because he was very evasive. In order to get to his place, she needed evidence from the evidence found in his last crime. With Singh's help, Wednesday reaches a bowling ball belonging to the killer's last victim. And once Wednesday grabs the ball, she gets a kind of shock and has a vision to determine the location of the killer. But when she goes to catch him, she fails, and he is the one who controls her and locks her in the basement. Right now, Wednesday tells us that the killer thinks he's in control, and she doesn't intend to change that idea for him. At that moment, the killer enters Wednesday and has made a small doll for her the same shape and prepares to eliminate it. But suddenly Singh appears and attacks the killer and continues to direct strong blows to him until he throws him to the ground. Then Wednesday pulls the knife and approaches the killer. After a while we see Wednesday in her room and the newspaper's news that the serial killer was arrested with the help of a little girl hung on the wall. It is clear that Wednesday is still writing her novel on the typewriter. And at that moment her mother Mortia enters her to rush her because she does not want her to be late on her first day of school and tells her that she wished to spend more time with her on summer vacation. Wednesday apologizes to her mother because she spent the holiday writing her new novel. After that, she rides the car with her mother Morticia and her father Gomez, with her brother Bagsley, who will also enter Neve Moore School in his first year. At that time, Gomez is very proud of his son and superhuman abilities, especially since the driver Lorik was a witness to his training. We notice that Lorik's facial features are all evil. His left eye is black and his right is purple, and he seems angry when he remembers that Bagsley, during his training, blew up the car at him and made him lose his right eye. Elsewhere, there is a man waiting for a certain person, and moments later a car comes and a woman runs towards him and hugs him. At the same moment, there is someone watching them from afar and photographing them, but he is surprised when he sees a black crow standing on the tree behind him. And at that time, the man is nervous because the crow's eye is red, but he returns to follow his work normally. And after a while, the number of crows begins to increase until they all land on his car without paying attention. And here, the red-eyed crow makes a voice as if giving an order to attack the man. Then the man tries to escape and hide inside the car from the crows that attack him, takes out his phone and calls his friend and tells him that he has been exposed, and tells him that if he dies, the evidence is in the hut. As soon as he ends the call, he is surprised that the car is full of crows, and suddenly they attack and kill him in a horrible way. Then we move on to Neve Moore School, where it opens its doors to the Wednesday car and her family. And when they get out of the car, Morticia Wednesday says to take care of her brother, so Wednesday tells her that she always takes care of him. And here Wednesday remembers the past. We see how she cared about her brother, so much that she would put him in a wooden coffin and lock him with nails. Then they enter the school, and all the students look at Wednesday with so much admiration that some of them take pictures of her with their phones, and there is a group of them asking for her signature. So Wednesday is surprised and tells them that she does not care about these things and does not like them. At this moment, Bianca comes and talks to the new students to keep them away from Wednesday, and tells Wednesday that she became famous after she saved Neve Moore School from the demonic being. But Wednesday is silent and does not respond, so Bianca understands that Wednesday is annoyed by her fame, and tells her that the more she tries to escape from fame, the more her fame increases. After Bianca leaves, Barry shows up the new principal, calls Wednesday and tells her that he is honored to meet the school rescuer, informs her that he will revive the founder's Holocaust ceremony, tells her that this is an old tradition of the outcast school and they will celebrate it the next night, and asks her to be the honor student at the ceremony. But Wednesday tells him that she doesn't like talking about the dead and leaves. After that, Wednesday goes up to her room, and as soon as she opens the door of the room, she finds many students celebrating. Here comes Enid, her roommate, and quickly welcomes her, and then asks all the students to leave. Wednesday notices that Enid is interested in her colleague, Bruno, and says him before he leaves. And then she gives Enid Wednesday a gift of a black shirt because she likes black. But Wednesday does not like the shirt. However, she accepts him and tells Enid that she also brought her a gift, and gives her a doll in the shape of a girl who looks a lot like her. Enid is surprised by the gift but accepts it and thanks Wednesday. After that, Enid tells Wednesday that she has many ambitions to achieve this year, such as becoming the leader of the dance team and joining the Night Shield Association. When asked by Enid Wednesday about her ambitions, she tells her that she will avoid people and focus on finishing her new novel. At that moment, Wednesday opens the door of the store inside the room, and suddenly an arrow stuck in her picture with the principal comes out of it, and the picture is written on the sentence. Welcome, Boynes. Here Wednesday realizes that someone is watching her, and she tries to find out who he is through the visions she sees, but fails, and tells Singh that she could not see the person watching her. At that moment, black tears come down from Wednesday's eyes, so Enid notices this and alerts her, but Wednesday quickly wipes her tears and asks her not to concentrate too much with her. Wednesday then comes down from her room to say goodbye to her family, and is surprised that Barry asked Mortia to stay with him this year at school as the head of the donation committee, especially after Xavier's mother left school with her son. Wednesday learned that Xavier will attend an academy in Switzerland and will not be in school with her this year. After that, Barry takes Morticia to show her the house she will live in, tells her that she can spend this night with her husband, and then think and tell him her decision the next day, and if she agrees, this will be her place of residence all year. Wednesday Mortia then asks why she wants to stay in school, and she tells her that she is worried about her, especially since Judy's absence from her will caused her inconvenience, because he is considered her spiritual guide, but her presence next to her will help her until a new guide appears. Then Wednesday says that she is a raven, and that their path is different in the kingdom of magic, and that Mortia will not be able to help her because she is a mama. Morticia surprises her and tells her that she has a previous experience with the crows. So Wednesday responds that she knows that she is talking about her Aunt Ophelia and asks her to take care of her brother and not care about her. And here Gomez arrives and asks Morticia what's going on, and she tells him shocked that Wednesday is hiding a lot from them, and that they should know, and she tells him that she is afraid that history will repeat itself again. Then she goes out and wanders in the woods. You notice ambulances and police on the road, and we know they are moving the body of journalist Carl. At this moment, the police are surprised by the way he died, and they know that he was watching his manager at work with his mistress. But for them, this is not enough reason to kill him in this way. At that moment, Wednesday sees a person running inside the forest, so she manages to hit him and drop him to the ground, and it turns out that the detective is Galban. He tells her that the victim's name is Carl, and that he was their friend, and they were working together on a case, which is the cause of his death. He tells her that Carl discovered something by chance, and this will affect the outcasts at the school. She asks him in surprise if he has become interested in the outcasts, reminding her that his son Taylor is one of them, and although he knows what he did, it is not his fault. Wednesday tells him that his son was a monster from the beginning, so Galban interrupts her and says he needs to help her reach the danger that threatens the outcasts, but Wednesday does not answer him and leaves. So Galban stops her and tells her that she did not come to the crime scene by chance, but there is something hidden that makes her come to this place, and he tells her that if she changes her mind she can come to him, and warns her of crows who are constantly watching them. At night, a student named Jax begins to tell a legendary story for new students, telling them that this story is called the Skull Tree. Jax tells about a smart boy who suffered from heart disease, who spent his days in the hospital drawing strange instruments, and dreamed of building them one day. When doctors told him that he would die in a few months, he decided to design a heart for himself so that his body could match his genius mind. The process of transplanting the new heart was successful, but the robotic heart that was transplanted completely different for it, so it became emotionless and always rushed after its ambition. When he arrived at Neve Moore's school, they received him as a genius and inventor, but with time his inventions became dangerous, and one night his genius cost him his life, as while he was experimenting, the whole place exploded. Jack says that legends mention that the body of that boy is buried under a tree called the Skull Tree, and that no one has been able to reach this tree, because it is located in a terrifying and scary place, and only the brave reach it. And here the ambition appears on Bagsley's features, and it seems clear that he wants to go to the tree. Meanwhile, Barry receives Bianca in his office, admires her superpowers, and asks her if she has aspirations for the future. When she is silent, she is offered to participate in the donation committee, but Bianca apologizes to him. Then he tells her that she is a free scholarship student, and that the school is currently suffering from financial distress, and he fears that she will lose her scholarship, so he wants to collect donations for her. Then Bianca realizes that he is threatening her, so she is forced to join him. On the same night, the mother opened a book talking about her sister Ophelia, and sadness appeared on her features. Bagsley was in his room staring at the place of the skull tree on the map. We move on to Berry, who takes out a picture of director Lauricia and stares at it sadly and affected. At the same time, we see an unknown person holding a picture of Wednesday and cutting her eyes off the photo. As for Wednesday, she went to the music room and continued to play until Professor Capri attended the new music school, introduced herself, and told her that she noticed that she was playing to get out the energy of pain and sadness inside her. But Wednesday told her that she did not need lessons from anyone and walked away. The next day, Wednesday was surprised by a message from Xavier, saying that he tried to call her on the phone he gave her, but to no avail. Then Wednesday remembered the moment when she got rid of the phone and threw it into the water, and was surprised when Zafir sent her a painting with a crow with red eyes, standing on a cemetery, and told her in the letter that the painting was considered a farewell gift from him, and that the crow was attached to it. Later, Wednesday noticed something strange on her desk, and opened the drawer to discover that her novel had disappeared, and instead it was a picture of her, and her eyes were removed, and with a letter from the person watching her, saying that he was a creature of fire, and her novel would burn that night at the Founders' Holocaust party. That night, Wednesday quickly went to the party. There she passed next to a group of students, who put a letter inside her pocket containing sharp mounts. As soon as she touched the letter, her hand hurt. Yet she opened it to find that the person watching her wrote to her, "If you don't want to burn her novel, she should go inside the statue." Wednesday immediately carried out his instructions and entered the statue to find her novel, continuing to walk inside it until she faced the novel in front of her. At the moment, Barry greeted the new students and threw a torch at the statue to try to burn it. Yet Wednesday continued to walk in the fire to reach her novel and managed to take it out at the last minute before the flame devoured her. After that, Wednesday walked among the students with confidence and quietly, and Barry received her with praise and told her that without her courage, no one would be there in the celebration, because she saved the school. He revealed to them a large painting in which Wednesday and her colleagues were painted as a symbol of gratitude for saving the school. Barry then asked Wednesday to speak to the new students on this occasion, and she spoke to them about the importance of preparing to face and eliminate evil, which the students liked and applauded her. But she was surprised by lighting the painting, saying that she did not like excessive compliments. At the same time, Bagsley went to the skull tree and put his ear to listen to the heartbeat of the genius young man, and suddenly a crow came out of the tree and fell to the ground, accompanied by many electric lightning, and a scary body came out of the ground. Strangely, Bagsley didn't hide and smiled. At that moment, Wednesday returned to her room, and Enid followed her and put her hand on her shoulder, causing her a strong shock, and black tears flowed from her eyes, and she lost consciousness. I entered another world full of tombs, surrounded by many crows. Wednesday was shocked to see a grave bearing the name of her friend Enid, and suddenly Enid appeared frighteningly and attacked her, accusing her of being the cause of her death. Wednesday woke up, black tears still flowing from her eyes, and her body trembled badly. Her mother came to reassure her and tell her that her friend was okay, and they sat together in the room. Her mother told her that she knew the cause of black tears, and that this happens as a result of her exhaustion when using her superpower. I asked Wednesday how to get rid of these tears, and Morticia signaled to her by handing her Judy's first Talus book, adding that she does not have to rush to get rid of the forces of evil, and that the right guide will appear in time to lead her in her life. But Wednesday was not patient, and she decided to leave. So her mother tried to stop her to tell her that her talent was a gift from God that must be preserved. But she did not listen and went to Gillan's house to talk to him. When she entered, she found the door open, and she entered to discover Gillan dead with his eyes tipped off, in the same way that her friend Carl died, and many crows came out of his body, flying in the ceiling of the room. Wednesday tried to look for an exit, but the crows were preventing her, and the glass broke to find a way out. But the red-eyed crow remained standing in front of her, and a bird approached. She tried to touch Gilban's body to find out why he was killed, but it didn't work. She felt that her superpower was stopped, and she felt that something was wrong, and she tried to get out of the house, but she found the police waiting for her, so they arrested her. At the police station, the police chief asked her why she was in Gilban's house that late, and Wednesday explained that Gilban asked her to visit him. Wednesday explained to the police chief that Gilban asked her to visit him, so the latter inquired about her relationship with Gilban, especially her boyfriend Carl. especially since they searched for Gilburn's phone and did not find him. At that moment, Gomez came in, introduced himself as her daughter's lawyer, and told the police chief that if she wanted to investigate her, she had to make a formal request through court, then took his daughter and went out. On the way back, Gomez Wednesday asked why she was visiting Gilburn. She told him what happened the day before, and she explained that she wanted to know the cause of her boyfriend's death. Because of her recklessness, her mother Gomez and told her that her mother would not like her actions. Wednesday was surprised, and Gomez asked her to come home with her mother, but she understood that her mother would not agree to that. Wednesday asked Gomez what happened to her Aunt Ophelia, but he refused to answer, telling her it was better to hear the story directly from her mother. The next day, Bagsley was outside Eugene's bee hut, who asked where he was on the night of the party and what he was doing at the hut, and it turned out that Eugene lived with Bagsley in the same room, so they became friends. Eugene was terrified when he saw the monster that appeared to Pagesley on the night of the party, and the monster tried to attack him, but Bagsley stopped him by the chain. And it turned out that the monster considered Pagesley his owner, but this monster is the young man about whom Jax told them, because his metal heart is inside him, and works as a result of the lightning that came out of Magesley. Despite Eugene's fear of the monster, he offered him honey to eat, but he refused. At the same time, Wednesday returned to her room and spoke with Singh, explaining her surprise at the weakness of her strength, and that she saw the vision of Enid's death, and that it had something to do with the crows, and she wanted to know the truth. I decided to look for an answer in Judy's book. Then I was surprised by a message on Enid's phone, and it turned out that the person watching her was using Gilburn's phone. So Wednesday was afraid of the possibility of her involvement in a murder, and she felt responsible because she always got involved in problems, and went to learn driving lessons. Wednesday asked Singh to search in Judy's book for a solution to the problem of her weak power. Then Barry met with the teacher Orlf and asked him about which student controls the birds, and he replied that none of the current students, and that the last student had existed for 10 years. We went to Mortier sitting with Bianca, who was trying to convince Mortier to accept to be the chair of the donation committee. At the same time, Bagsley and Eugene went to feed the monster, and it turns out that the food gives the monster strength because he is able to break the chain and free himself, and it appears that the monster is the young man that Jax told them about. As for Wednesday, she went to Singh and told him that she would visit Taylor, and took the driving class ticket that Enid forgot, and impersonated her to reach the desired place. So the driving teacher was amazed by her high driving skill. Upon her arrival, she found that Taylor was being held in a mental hospital, and met with Dr. Verben, who explained to her that Taylor talked about her a lot, and that she would observe the interview, and if she felt any danger, she pressed the red button. Wednesday entered Taylor, and when he saw her, he wanted to attack her, but the guard watched through the restrictions prevented it. Wednesday told him that his father died last night, and her boyfriend Carl died the same way, and she asked him about his relationship with what happened. Taylor denied knowing anything, and Wednesday realized that she would not get any useful information from him, so she left him. But Taylor asked her to deliver a greeting to Enid and inform her that he would take revenge when she saw her, and thus Wednesday carried the guilt of her friend's death until the last day of her life. She replied that he was still just a student who could be exploited, as Marilyn had previously exploited him and told him that he did not have anything good he could offer to the world. So he got angry and turned into a monster, but the guard controlled him and prevented him. Wednesday told him that she did not need to meet him again. He is locked up like any animal in a cage. At school, Eugene went to Pagesley and told him that the monster had escaped. At the same time, Dahid entered her room with her friend Bruno and talked to Singh to introduce him to her owner, and while they were talking, she noticed that something strange was happening to Bruno, and Singh tried to get him out of the box, but a hidden person locked him inside him. At the same time, Bianca went to Barry's office, so I asked her if she could convince Morticia to join the donation party. She replied that she hadn't done it yet, and it turned out that she was upset with Barry's exploitation of her, so she tried to use her power on him to keep him away, but she failed because he was stronger than her, and threatened her with death if she didn't get her job done as soon as possible. At night, Wednesday returned to her room, and was surprised that Singh was locked inside the box. So she opened it and asked him about Enid. So he pointed to her and told her that Enid ran quickly and she was screaming. And at that moment, Enid's phone rang. Wednesday replied, and the person on the line told her that Enid had kidnapped and that the game had begun, and that she had 30 minutes to save her friend before killing him. and that any participation with anyone would lead to the killing of Enid, and he is watching her all the time. At that moment, she threw a paper under the door, and Wednesday ran to see who threw it, but she found no one. Elsewhere, Wednesday and her owner Bruno were found chained, and aware, they discovered that they were in the abandoned Iago Tower, which no one had climbed for a long time, and they tried to free themselves to no avail. And they wanted to know who did it to them, and suddenly a group of knives appeared on top of them. At the same time, Wednesday tried to find out the content of the paper to reach her friend's place, so she met Professor Capri by chance, who asked her to play a little, and she replied that she was busy. And after Capri left, she noticed that the paper contained musical symbols, so she went to the music class and started playing, and suddenly a place opened inside the class, and she found a tunnel behind it, so she entered the tunnel and went down on the stairs inside it. Suddenly, she finds a mask thrown on the ground, so she takes it and continues on her way until she reaches the Iago Tower. She and Singe rides, and they go up to the last floor. Wednesday is shocked when she sees Ned and Bruno chained. Sing passes by trying to untie them quickly, but he doesn't notice a trap, so the knives fall on him from the ceiling, and one of the knives are planted in him to stop him. Then the gears start to work, and the knives go down towards Enid and Bruno. Wednesday moves quickly to find a solution and save them, and finds in front of her a machine with a paper with a question that she must answer to free her friend. Wednesday searches the surrounding books to find the appropriate answer, as the knives approach Enid and Bruno are about to kill them, but she quickly arrives for the answer and writes it down, so the knives stop before they hit them. Suddenly, a girl out of nowhere appears in front of her, the same girl who met Wednesday when she entered the school and admired her and her superpowers. The girl manages to hide, telling Wednesday that everything that happened was just a prank on the occasion of prank. She introduces herself as Agnes, tells Wednesday that she is a big fan of her and hopes she has admired her ability. Wednesday realizes that Agnes is behind everything that happened, so she blames her for the death of Carl and Gilban. So Agnes explains to her that she is not related to the crimes, but she used Gilgan's phone to complete the prank, and gives it to Wednesday to help her reach the real murder. Wednesday picks up the phone and leaves the place with her friends. At night, Bianca goes to Maresia to take control of her and force her to pay the most donations to the school. And this appears that this is Barry's plan from the beginning, to seize the wealth of the mother of Mortia. Bianca uses her power to make sure that Morticia does not reveal anyone by visiting her, so Mortia agrees under the influence of her strength. Wednesday returns to her room to discover that Judy's book does not exist, so she guesses that her mother has taken it, and prepares to scold Sing for what happened. She notices a crow standing on the window and runs towards him, but he flies into the forest, where the monster appears among the trees. At the same time, a teacher drives his car on the road. The monster suddenly appears to him, and the scene turns over, and the monster hits the car and later attacks him. Wednesday sneaks into her mother's room in search of the book, but she does not find it. So Mortia enters her and tells her that she knows that she will look for him, and explains to her that the vision she saw and appeared in the middle of the cemetery, full of crows, is not a coincidence, and that the red-eyed crow is the same one who killed Gillan and Carl, and she must reach the real killer before he reaches her friend, Enid. Morticia asks her to return the book, but she refuses, telling her that researching it will only bring pain, and explaining to her that her poor patience resembles her sister Ophelia, which drove her crazy. Wednesday leaves the room, and the next day she looks on Gilban's phone for any information about the killer. Enid is busy choosing her clothes for the camping party, and Wednesday Sing talks about the vision of Enid's death, so Agent suddenly appears, warning her not to reveal anything, promising her confidentiality, and offering to help her, but Wednesday refused. At the same time, Pagesley and Eugene find the monster and tie it back in the hut. Notice that the brain seems to form, and discover that it feeds on human minds. At the same time, Wednesday accepts Agnes's help, and is impressed by her ability to change her appearance to anyone, as well as the tools she brought from Gilgan's house. Wednesday begins to search among these objects, and you find a picture of a specific hut with Cottage number 2015 written on it. So you open the map to determine its location, and you discover that it is close to the camp where the school will stay that night. She decided to go to the camp. She is surprised there when she sees her brother carrying a black coffin. So she asks him about its content, and he tells her that he has some fireworks, and hides the monster inside him so that he does not leave him alone. The monster appears from the coffin when it moves, but Bagsley hits him with his man to silence him. At the same time, everyone knows that the leader of the scout team, Ron, makes an argument on the ownership of the camp land, and begins a fight with Barry. So Wednesday proposes to set up a competition between the school team and the scout team to determine who deserves the land. Everyone admires the idea and agrees, and the competition begins, where the egg must be protected and placed on the tower to win. At first, the scout team manages to take the egg, but Wednesday acts quickly, giving orders to Sing, who uses the bees to counter the smoke of the rival team, and Wednesday manages to reach the egg to the tower before them, winning the competition. At night, Wednesday leaves the camp and goes to the 2015 hut to look for any evidence to help her reach the killer, and finds a hidden place with pictures of dead people over the years. And the name Louis is discovered written on the wall. She puts her hand on the wall in the hope of seeing a vision to know the truth, but fails because of the weakness of her strength. So she decides to recover Judy's book at any cost. At this moment, the crow appears standing behind the glass, and Barry is watching them. Wednesday goes to her mother and asks her to give her the book one last time, but she refuses, and she is insulted in a duel in the forest. And Mortia agrees. At the same time, the monster attacks the leader of the scout team and eats his brain, terroring the rest of the team and fleeing. Wednesday sues with her mother, and Sing is the referee. Bagsley and Eugene appear, and they discover that the monster has eaten the brain of the scout leader, and are surprised by the view. Suddenly, Agnes appears and tells them that the monster has escaped from the camp and must be found because it is dangerous. The monster moves in the woods, reaching the scene of the duel of Wednesday and Morticia. Mortia wins the duel, but Wednesday throws the sword hard to prevent the monster from reaching it, injuring his brain and fixing him in the tree. The police come, catch him, hold him, and take him away. Wednesday watches an unknown person with the crow on his shoulder suddenly disappearing. Wednesday returns to her room and begins to analyze all the evidence to understand why Gilbin and Carl chased the crows, which led to their death. The next day, we see Verban receiving Marilyn in the hospital, asking her to help her son Taylor in the treatment, so Marilyn agrees. When she enters, Taylor turns into a monster and strangles her, but she apologizes to him and promises to make up for what happened. Taylor later calms down. Wednesday wanders through the graves in search of the remains of the Manbuzin and is surprised to visit her grandmother, who explains to her that it was her mother who asked her to attend the donation party. Her grandmother asks why she searched the graves, so she tells her the full story, and she discovers that the crow attacked the place and took her papers, so she pursues him to no avail. Wednesday asks her grandmother to buy all the tombs so she can search freely, and her grandmother agrees because she loves her. Upon returning to her room, she finds agents waiting for her, telling her that the person in control of the birds discovered their search. That time is running out, and the killer must be prevented before Enid is killed. Wednesday tells Agnes that she will find most of the answers in a mental hospital, so she later goes with her Uncle Foster to search, where he is stunned by the force of his hand to infect Agnes, and Foster appears angry with her presence because he does not like to spy. Wednesday asks Foster to look for someone named Lewis inside the hospital, explaining that Verban should not know about their mission. Foster reassures her and confirms his experience in such missions. Before leaving Foster for the hospital, he causes a disturbance in the hotel, so the manager informs the police and arrests him. So Foster acts like he is crazy and eats the cactus on the desk. At the time, the police chief asked the officer to call the mental hospital to come and pick him up, and that was exactly what Foster wanted to happen. And we know that this is the plan with which he will enter the mental hospital. At the same time, Neste's mother reached out to her grandmother and was given the title deeds of the cemeteries she bought for her. Here, Morticia didn't like what was happening and asked Wednesday to leave her with her grandmother alone. After she left Wednesday, Mortia asked her mother about the relationship between her and Wednesday, so the grandmother refused to tell her anything and advised her to let her daughter behave freely and not to try to monitor all her actions so as not to stay away from her. Grandma Morticia was then surprised and told her that she agreed to donate to the school on the condition that Judy's book was returned to Wednesday, but Mortia refused and threw the book into the fire. Meanwhile, Foster was in a mental hospital, and Verban was surprised by the amount of passports and pseudonyms he used and asked him what his real name was. While they were talking, Verban's assistant came in and gave her the X-ray image on Foster's brain, so they were shocked when they found his brain full of metal pieces. Here, Verban decided to book him at the hospital so that his condition could be checked, and Foster was reassured that his plan was going as he wanted. When Foster joined the patients, he started looking for Lewis, but he couldn't reach her. At the same time, the bird controller appeared, watching Neve Moore's school from a high place. and saw Nesday with Agnes. How could Auguste be the chief physician at a mental hospital? Agnes said. Prior to his appointment, he was a teacher at Neve Moore School and was hospitalized after a nervous breakdown that affected his thinking. Wednesday moved quickly and went to tell. Seeing that she wanted to send an urgent message to Foster, asked him to go to the hospital and make Foster look for Auguste, because he is the only one who can get Foster to Louis. Meanwhile, Anid came and talked to Wednesday and said she was surprised because she was busy with her in the past period. While they were talking, Nasday noticed that the school was full of crows and thought that this was the moment when Anid would die, so she asked her to hide quickly, but neither of them was able to act because the bird controller signaled the crows to attack. So the crows attacked all the students and chaos occurred. Meanwhile, a crow Singh kidnapped and shaved, but Barry hit him with a ball of fire and forced him to let him go. Anid ran quickly and caught up with Sage before he hit the ground and died. At the same moment, she saw Wednesday, who controlled the birds running away, so she ran after him, but he disappeared and left no trace. So Nesday took the robe from which he fell and continued on her way until she found Verbon standing in front of her, so she was surprised that she was at school and suspected that she was in control of the birds. Verbon knew her that she came to take Capri with her to the hospital because she wanted to treat patients with music. Here Capri came, and I was surprised that Nesday and Verbon knew each other. Suddenly, they heard the sound of Clax's Verbon, so she told them that she was a helper and rushed her to return to the hospital, and then left. Wednesday noticed the speed of Capri's execution of orders. I thought the reason was running, and I asked her about the reason for that speed, but she didn't answer and changed the subject. Then Nasday asked her if she would participate in the school music concert, which increased her suspicion, but she didn't show anything in front of her. She left him and went. After that, I watched Wednesday sing on a Verbon car, and this was considered a good opportunity to go to the hospital to inform Foster. Mortier came and asked Wednesday why Foster was sent to the mental hospital, and Wednesday told her that Foster was helping her with her case, and that she would not allow Anid to die because of her. Morticia reminded her of the bird, attack on the school and the danger Singe was exposed to, and asked her to stop what she was doing, otherwise things would get worse. At the hospital, Foster was surprised when he found Singh in front of him, and he knew from him that Wednesday wanted him to look for Auguste, and Singh told him that Auguste was the one who would take him to Louis. Foster started looking for Auguste until he found him sitting alone in silent. Foster told him that he was looking for Louis, and he discovered that Auguste spoke only through the parrot on his shoulder. So Foster was shocked to force him to tell the truth. So the parrot pointed to a certain number, and Foster understood that he had a relationship with Louis. At the same time, Nesday went to Orloff and asked him about a teacher named Auguste, and he told her that he only knew that he had a daughter. So I asked him and Nesday if his daughter's name was Louis, and he replied that he did not remember. Here Wednesday had no choice but to go to the hospital herself. In the hospital, Foster took Auguste and took him into his room. He was surprised that Augusta pointed to the maintenance room and continued to pronounce Louis's name, which surprised Foster. After he returned him to the maintenance room, he was surprised by the arrival of Verbon and the security personnel. So they arrested him. Verbon took Auguste to the interrogation room, and with her the monster they caught from the school to scare Foster and force him to tell the truth, and they threatened him that the monster would attack him if he didn't believe. Meanwhile, Singh saw what was happening, so he ran quickly to inform Wednesday. So Wednesday ordered Singh to return to the hospital and stay next to Foster until she found a way to enter and rescue him. Then Wednesday sat down with Agnes and told her that Capri was going to the hospital to give a therapeutic music class, and this was their chance to go to the hospital with her, to free Foster and get to Louis's place. Wednesday began to make her plan and explain to her genies. Then Anid came and asked about her role. So Nesday was afraid of rejecting her so as not to upset Anid, so she had to make her participate with them, and told her that her task was to monitor, and that if she was arrested or a big problem occurred, the police should be informed immediately. After that, they rode a Nesday in the bag of a Capri car, and at the same time Agnes and Anid arrived at the hospital and waited for her. When Capri arrived, Agnes used her stealth skill and sneaked into the bathroom unnoticed, lighting fireworks to turn on security personnel before they searched Capri's car and discovered the presence of Wednesday. Wednesday took advantage of this situation and entered the hospital without anyone seeing her. Then the lady Foster met helped her while he was in the hospital, hid her inside the food car, and took her to Foster's cell. Meanwhile, Wednesday managed to steal the identity card of a security member, then opened the cell to free Foster. and took him to search for Lewis. But the monster who was with Foster in the cell followed them. And at this moment, the guards were holding Marilyn in her cell, so the monster attacked and killed them. And Marilyn took advantage of the opportunity and ran away, which shocked Nasday, but she continued on her way with Foster. Suddenly, Verban and Capri heard a noise from outside the place. A security personnel came and informed Verban what was happening, so I ordered the emergency plan to be carried out quickly. Meanwhile, Foster and Wednesday went to the maintenance room, and Foster used the number indicated by the parrot, and when they entered, they began to look for Lewis, and they discovered a secret door inside the room, and found behind him a ladder. And before going down, they noticed a sentence written on the wall. So Wednesday understood that Lewis is not a person, but the initials of a secret experiment conducted on the patients. They went down to underground cells, where they discovered that the outcasts were still alive, and that the hospital administration forged their death to test them. Wednesday Foster was told that Gilban was afraid that his son would be subjected to the same experiences. Suddenly, the bird controller appeared with the red-eyed crow, and Wednesday was shocked when she discovered that Verban's assistant was the bird controller, and her shock increased when she learned that she was the daughter of August, and that her father was experimenting on the outcasts to exploit their supernatural abilities on humans. After the death of her father, she decided to complete his career, and she said that it is the biggest proof of the success of his experiments. She was born a normal person, and thanks to her father's experiences, she became easy to control birds. Foster tried to hit her with an electric shock to get rid of her, but there was a big explosion in the place, and the electricity went out. Agnes and Enid were out of the hospital and shocked by what happened, so Enid used her phone to inform the police. The cells opened and the outcasts came out and ran after August's daughter to take revenge on the experiments she conducted on them, while the last prisoner remained in her cell. So she went and took her to help her escape. Meanwhile, the monster began to gradually regain its human body as a result of the mines it fed on during chaos. Marilyn arrived at her son Taylor's cell and freed him from restraints, so she hugged him and said that she came to save him, but he indicated to her that she was the reason for his suffering, and that she made him a servant to carry out her wishes. So Marilyn understood that he wanted to kill her. I tried to survive and told him that Wednesday was in the hospital, and that he must take revenge on her first before Wednesday. Marilyn escaped before Taylor turned into a monster and killed her, but he had already turned into a monster and began to run after her and kill her. After that, he went to look for Wednesday to take revenge on her, and at the same time all the patients ran out of the hospital. Verban was in her office with Auguste. The monster attacked and killed her, then approached Auguste and killed him too. At the same time, Wednesday was helping one of the patients escape, but she was surprised by Taylor in front of her. The patient was ordered to escape quickly and stood up to face Taylor, who hit her hard and threw her out of the window, and she fell to the ground. The police arrived at the same moment and started shooting Taylor, but the bullets did not affect him, so he attacked them and killed a large number of them, and then fled to the forest. At this moment, Singh went to Wednesday to check on her, and found her falling to the ground and bleeding, thus ending the first part of the second season of the series. This video took me a lot of time and strength. The least I can ask for is to like the video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel to continue with you summarizing exclusive movies and series.